Hello, everybody, and welcome back to HCST Athletics. Here with head coach Altobelli of Bayonne High School Bowling. How you doing, coach?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on today.
Of course, no problem. So, just to give the viewers a little bit of a heads up and some insight back home, what's the bowling landscape like in New Jersey when it comes to high school, and how does the scoring work?
Uh, so the scoring is it varies through county, through the leagues, but in our Hudson County HCAL division, we have a 7 point scoring system per game per series. So basically, we bowl 3 games, and the winner of each one of those games gets 2 points. And then for total pins at the end, you get 1 point. So, it's possible to win a game 7-0 or 5-2. 4-3 is a little more, uncommon, but it can happen. And then, we do have ties. They don't happen often, but, you would usually split that point, in the end. But yeah, that doesn't happen too often for us. And in terms of the landscape, I mean, New Jersey bowling is pretty insane. We have a lot of, extreme talent, throughout the state. Um, there are, multiple bowlers that are going to be going D1 this year. At least I know of two at least that are going to be, bowling at the number 1 school in the country in Michigan this year. So yeah, their seniors will graduate this year. But yeah, like we have a very competitive, bowling landscape across all of our divisions and sections. Yeah, it's a great time to be a bowler in New Jersey, and yeah, it's a great time to be a coach here for sure. It's a lot of fun.
And with all of that competitiveness that you just mentioned, you guys are still one of the most premier programs in the state of New Jersey. Right now, ranked at number two. How were you able to build this Bayonne program up to such a high standard?
Well, I came on what this is like season 9, I think it is for me. And we were always, pretty good. I've been fortunate enough to always have at least 2 or 3 kids out of the five, that I need to start that always had bowled, since they were kids. Um, so we've always been, pretty competitive in Hudson County. My first couple of years, we came close to, some county titles and whatnot. Didn't get over that hump, the first couple of years. But the last, 3 years, I feel like we've really been building a program here. We're getting some athletes in here that, that either pick up the game really quickly or they've just been bowling, since they were, kids and, they're really, you know, star athletes when it comes, on the on the bowling lanes. So yeah, we're just uh, improving every year, and we're I'm challenging my guys every year with tournaments and a very tough schedule. By my estimation, I'd say that we booked one of the toughest schedules in New Jersey this year. With the teams we faced and with the tournaments we've been to. I mean, I'm booking 7 or 8 tournaments, per season. All super competitive. And I think it's benefiting the team in the long run because they're learning how to adjust, they're learning how to bowl on different lanes, different oil patterns, and they're really being put to it every single weekend against the best possible talent that the state has to offer. So.
So, how is that process, by the way? And you don't have to get into specifics. I'm sure some of it may be confidential. Of taking someone who's never bowled, is a good athlete, or maybe hasn't bowled much in their life, and then developing them into a great bowler and someone who helps you win so many games and get to so many big games.
So it's more of a time and a mindset. I only get the kids for, 3, for like really like 3 months out of the year. In that time frame, we'll work on things, releases and, kind of, where your ball should be, ball speed, your steps. Um, like kind of like the basics just to kind of get you going. And then, my hope is that they'll bowl throughout the rest of the year and kind of pick some things up. They'll pick my brain, when they have a question. But, it's it's more so when you get the right athlete, they pick it up really quickly. Um, yeah, for me, it's again, if you're not a straight bowler since you've been a little kid, baseball players pick up bowling really quickly. A lot of most of the best bowlers in the state are also baseball players. Football players, quarterbacks, they know how to spin a ball. So, if you can if I can, recruit an athlete like that onto my team, they usually pick up the idea of spinning a bowling ball down the lane pretty quickly.
That's excellent. Well, big, very big matchup today against St. Peter's Prep. You guys have split with them so far this year. How crucial is today's matchup against the Marauders?
Today's a big one. Today's a really big match for us. We're trying to lock up the number one spot in our on our side of the bracket here, our side of the division. And if we can take a couple of games today, then we can achieve that goal. And then we'll be able to go in and play Union City for the we'll be able to go in and play whoever the winner is in the North right now. It's looking like Union City for the HCIL championship. We'll see how that plays out up there. But hopefully we can take a few points today and and lock it up.
Yeah, you guys are a game up on them, so a win today would all but guarantee the division. And now a little bit more wider picture here. State championship. You guys got to the final 2 years in a row, fell just a bit short in your section. How about this year? How excited are you guys to potentially go out there and bring the first title to this Bayonne bowling program?
It's kind of sort of, after last year, the heartbreak of last year, I mean, coming into this season, we kind of knew that we at least had the team, to get back there. I mean, I returned all five of my starters, from last year to this year. My six bowler, only improved. So we kind of, knew coming into the season that, it's never a guarantee. But we knew coming in that we'll have a good shot to be back, to be back in the finals again. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, that was the goal from day one of this year to get back to that final, to get back to the sectional finals and beyond. So, we'll see. Hopefully it works out for us. We got a couple games left in the regular season here, then a couple of, obviously the first couple of rounds of states before we can get there, against some really, top talented teams, some really talented teams that we're going to be going up against. So, just taking it a game at a time right now.
What's something that stands out about this team that that gives you a little bit more confidence as to getting to that goal? Maybe a difference between this team and years past.
Experience, we have, um, I have a couple of guys that were on, both teams that lost in the sectional finals, the previous 2 years. Um, another guy now who's a senior who's starting that, wasn't on that starting five, but he was there for it. Um, so, I think the experience level is key. I have two seniors, three juniors. Um, and just I've been putting them in high pressure situations for, the last 2 years now. They've won county titles, they've won HCIL titles, they've competed in states. They've won in you know out of conference titles, the Brick Classic and things like that. So, I think that the experience and hopefully kind of the mental toughness, is primed for us to make another run at this thing.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach. We appreciate you coming on, everybody. Thank you for watching HCST Athletics head coach Altobelli of Bayonne Bowling. Make sure to keep up with all things Hudson County sports here on HCST Athletics. Subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on Instagram so you can catch all the updates about this Bayonne Bowling squad and all things Hudson County sports. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.